Hello everyone and welcome to Holistic Healing with Deepshikha. In the last episode, we touched on the idea of tolerance, a subject that was meant to stand on its own. But as I wrapped up that discussion, I found myself compelled to dive deeper into the theme of how our perspectives shape our lives. It made me realize something powerful. Our capacity for tolerance is deeply intertwined with how we perceive the world around us. And so, what was supposed to be a single episode on tolerance has now blossomed into something more, a series. How many episodes the series will span? Well, that remains to be seen. But today, we are embarking on the second episode of what I'm calling the Open Mind series. You see, your perspectives will either become your prison or your passport. Think about that for a moment. How we see everything around us, the events, the people, the challenges, largely determines not just how our day unfolds, but how our entire life does. Perspective is everything. So let's take this moment to reflect. Think back to a time when you felt like something had gone terribly wrong in your life. Now contrast that with a time when you felt like things were going well. Not necessarily easy, but good. Do you see the difference? It wasn't the external circumstances that changed. It was your internal response to those circumstances. It was your attitude during those events that made all the difference. Let's break this down further. What if you chose to view uncomfortable situations as opportunities for growth? Imagine seeing difficulties as challenges to overcome, rejections as redirections guiding you towards a better path, and triggers as signs of wounds that need healing. Failures, what if you saw them as lessons rather than losses? Let me repeat those last few points because they are worth holding on to. Uncomfortable situations are opportunities for growth. Difficulties are challenges to overcome. Rejections are redirections. Triggers are wounds that need healing. And failures, they are lessons waiting to be learned. Do you feel that shift? Just by changing a few words, we can transform the way we might view those situations. It's like flipping a switch in your mind. And this is because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Now it's important to make a distinction between mindset and perspective. These two are closely related but not the same. Your mindset is essentially the way you think, your opinions, and your mental attitude. Is the framework within which your thoughts operate. Perspective, on the other hand, is your ability to notice and understand the world around you. It's how you interpret what you hear, see, and experience. For example, two people with the same mindset could have very different perspectives on a single event. Let's say they both face a significant challenge at work. One might see it as a daunting roadblock, while other perceives it as an exciting opportunity for growth. The difference? Perspective. So how do we cultivate a more empowering perspective? It starts with awareness. Be conscious of the stories you're telling yourself about your experiences. Are these stories of victimhood or empowerment? Are you framing your challenges as insurmountable obstacles or as stepping stones on your path to growth? When you catch yourself slipping into a negative narrative, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, is there another way to see this? What am I missing in this situation that could turn it from something negative into something constructive? This shift doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice, one that requires patience and commitment. But as you begin to adjust your perspective, you'll notice changes not in just how you feel, but in how you experience life. Suddenly, the things that once seemed like insurmountable challenges become manageable, even exciting. And the world opens up in ways you never imagined. Another effective strategy is to practice gratitude. When we focus on what we are grateful for, it shifts our attention away from what's lacking or going wrong and towards what's already good in our lives. This simple shift in focus can transform your perspective and in turn your experience of life. Yet another important aspect is to embrace flexibility in your thinking. Life is full of unexpected twists and turns. If you hold on too tightly to a fixed perspective, you might find yourself struggling to adapt when things don't go as planned. But if you approach life with a flexible, open mind, you will be better equipped to handle changes with grace and resilience. Your perspective is either your greatest asset or your biggest limitation. Think about that for a moment. The way you view your life, your circumstances, and even the people around you can either open up a world of possibilities or confine you to a space where growth feels impossible. This isn't just a philosophical idea. It's a practical reality that plays out every single day. Imagine waking up in the morning. The moment you open your eyes, you're faced with countless choices. Not just about what you'll wear or eat, but about how you'll approach the day. Will you see today as a continuation of yesterday's struggles, or will you view it as a fresh start, filled with potential and opportunities? That choice, that perspective, will set the tone for everything that follows. It doesn't mean that adopting a positive perspective is about ignoring difficulties or pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It's about recognizing that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond to those events. And our response is guided by our perspective. Think of your perspective as a lens through which you view the world. If your lens is cloudy or distorted, everything you see will appear unclear or skewed. But if you take the time to clean that lens, you begin to see things more clearly, more accurately. The world doesn't change, your view of it does. Our perspectives also influence our relationships. How often do misunderstandings arise simply because two people are seeing the same situation from different viewpoints? Developing the ability to step into someone else's shoes to see things from their perspective can lead to greater empathy, deeper connections, and more harmonious relationships. As we journey through life, it's important to remember that our perspectives are not set in stone. They can evolve as we gain new experiences, insights, and wisdom. By consciously choosing to cultivate a perspective that empowers rather than limits us, we can create a life that feels more fulfilling and aligned with our true selves. So, as you go about your day to day, I invite you to take a moment to examine your perspective. Is it helping you grow, or is it holding you back? Are there areas where you might need to adjust your lens? Remember, your perspective is your passport to a richer, more meaningful life. Choose it wisely. And with that, I come to the end of this episode. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of how our perspectives shape our lives. I hope this episode has inspired you to take a closer look at the lens through which you view the world. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, and keep growing. Thank you.